Thank you. How's that? Better? All right. I said, God bless everyone. Mike, Barry, Adam, Lizzie, Tom. Anything goes. What's going on, man? I've been saying I want to try and stay away from the market tonight if at all possible. Well, we could talk about whatever you guys want, but I do want to run through this video from this guy that broke down the Malaysia flight. It's crazy to me that they haven't found any pieces of this plane ever or located anything from it. And this video is pretty wild that they got. So Mike says fake climate change. Yeah, I saw today that we just sent another 3 billion overseas. Speaking of fake climate change, check this out. Look at this. So the people who are heading to this summit that we're about to send $1 billion to of our taxpayer dollars. This is pretty wild footage. So this is from the airport right now where they're supposed to be taking off. These are private planes, all grounded because they are covered in right now in Germany. They can't even get off the ground to go to this climate change, global warming summit. Absolute scam. Absolute scam. $3 more billion out the door. Tommy says AMC to 8432 soon. God, I could use the money. Oh, Mike says, let's talk about penguins and midgets. Adam says Forbes on AJ show made valid points. All right, so we're gonna watch. So I saw the kid who broke down the video on Kim Iverson. Yeah, I know the irony, right? I know. It's absolutely crazy, man. And these guys have no problem giving the money away. And I see the Gen Zers, Mike. I know you probably see him too, all over Twitter. You know, praising Kamala Harris, and the same with the Irish government, the Canadian government, all these billions and billions of dollars that are going to these third world countries to fight climate change. It's an absolute money laundering scheme. And these Gen Z kids have no idea how much debt they're going to be in by the time we come to the end of this fraud. But they're cheering it on. They're cheering on their own demise. It's amazing. It's amazing. Barry says the manifest shows that there were lithium-ion batteries on board. So in the video, it looks like you can see a fire coming from the belly of the plane starting. Yeah, Barry, I saw that. So that was the rumor on why this plane would have disappeared, that it was actually about to go down. Here's the thing, though. How did they know to have the drone there to take the footage, right? How did they know? And it happens, this flight turns around and goes back over one of the most unpopulated areas they could possibly go, which is those Nicobar and Andaman Islands. I don't know if you guys know the story about those islands, but they're like protected by the Indian government. You can't go there. People who have tried to go there have been killed by the natives who live there. They're like back in the Stone Age on these islands, and they're protected. Killed people who would try to shoot up. Like Christian missionaries have gone there and they've shot them dead with arrows. So it's interesting where the plane ended up disappearing over. Harry Parrott says, conspiracies, beaver sleep, never sleep. No, I know. That's what I figured tonight. I'm like, I just I need a break from recording. I finished that video earlier today about the WF and the cyber attack from Whitney Webb. And then I got right into another video for tomorrow, and I'm like, man, I need a break. I'm like, maybe I'll just go live for a little bit and see who's up. And when I popped over on Twitter, I saw the video from breaking down the plane footage. So I'm like, all right, maybe we can just watch that and see what's up. Adam says the deficit is our money. They owe us. Yeah, I know. Rory 310, what's going on, man? Good to see you tonight. Yeah, the irony is just oozing everywhere. It is quite crazy. It's quite crazy. Yeah, it's wild, man. It's wild. All right, so let's get into this footage for a minute, and then actually real quick before I go too far. Mike, are you still on? Because I want to ask, do we have any sports fans in the house right now? Is anyone a football fan, NFL football fan? Harry says he sent me some homework on Twitter. Okay, to my DM. By the way, did you guys see this post? I'm going to put it up. I forget who originally put it up. I was going to repost it. Yeah, right here. Here we go. All right, share screen. Did you guys see this post? This one. Any idea what that could be? Because I have some ideas that I want to talk about. But we'll get into the plane footage first. Yes, the scripted NFL. Thank you. Anything goes, says 49ers. I'm just going to write down and make sure I check my DMs for Harry Parrott's homework on X. Yeah, it's definitely rigged, no doubt about it. It's NFL is sports entertainment, right? It's 100% just like the WW scripted. They have no obligations to anyone to play fairly. Adam says, reformed football fan, but still wants Georgia fall to number 8 Alabama. All right, so I got a Bills fan in here and a 49ers fan, right? Anything goes, and Mike's a Bills fan. All right, so let me ask you guys this. If you had to pick someone that almost guaranteed is going to score tomorrow in your respective games, who would you pick? Be rushing or receiving? Touchdown score anytime in the game. One from each. From the Bills game and the 49ers game. Barry says, if this plane, let me throw this up. Barry says, if this plane flew by wire rather than more reliable mechanical controls, would explain the irregularities, god damn, it is late, of the flight. Just my thought. If the plane flew by wire rather than the more reliable mechanical controls, it would explain the irregularities of the flight. Just my thought. Okay. All right. Harry Parrott's got McCaffrey. That's pretty much a given, right? That Christian's going to score tomorrow. Give me someone besides McCaffrey. Who would be your number 2, Mike? Oh, Harry Parrott says McCaffrey. Who would be your number 2, Harry Parrott? Or anything goes. Anyone besides McCaffrey. Samuel? That's a good pick, right? Because he can get it either way, on the ground or in the air. Okay. Adam says, I think halftime break is so Las Vegas can recalibrate all the bets. I mean, you can do live betting now. I mean, with DraftKings and FanDuel, they got 24/7. You can bet any minute of the game on multiple different things, all kinds of stuff. You can still parlay after halftime. Ayuk, Samuel. I need a Bills player. Who's my Bill? Mike says, yeah, so I'm going to discuss that. Maybe I'll just save that for a video. But I'm going to discuss the whole thing with the distribution there. I'm waiting for an email back, but Adam says, yes, now, but back in the day, it took time to make adjustments. Yeah. Yeah, I 100% now believe the NFL is rigged. 100%. I've seen too many things, wild things happen that just, there's no other reason. Like some of the missed tackles even last week and some of the play calling, because, the refs do at the end of the day have a lot of control over the game. They have ultimate authority. So anytime they want to pick up or throw a flag, they can, right? Mike says yes. Mike, you're I know pretty sure you're a sports fan. Who I'm trying to think. I know you're down in SoCal. So are you a Raiders? I mean, yeah, you a Raiders fan now, or what? Are you still rooting for the Chargers up in LA? Who do you root for? Harry says, look for Kittle to have a big game. Adam says Alabama had 15 players on the field today. Did they really? on a play? Jeez. Someone said, who said Taylor Swift? Mike. What would the odds on that be? All right, let me see here. Pull this up. By the way, did you I don't know if you guys saw this or not tonight. Probably not. This was from out of Arizona. Local. You won't see this anywhere in national news, but this shit's pretty crazy.
Body donation business exposed a scandal involving a body donation business in Phoenix.
A place known as the Biological Resource Center and a place with one promise.
Connects those who wish to donate their body to science with medical research and education facilities.
Turns out the donation was just the beginning.
The owner accused of selling bodies and body parts. A trial set to begin in just months. And tonight, new grisly details of what the FBI says really happened.
ABC 15's Nicole Valdez is live. And Nicole, this paints a Frankenstein-like picture.
Yeah, it really does. Katie and Steve, closed for years. This building off 24th Street and University doesn't look like much, but according to new claims in these court documents, the Biological Resource Center was essentially running a shop for human body parts, mixing, matching, and selling them in ways we've never heard of until tonight.
Described as unsettling, but it sounds a whole lot worse. One FBI agent revealing what it was really like in the Phoenix body donatee. In 2014, he saw everything from buckets of heads, arms, and legs to coolers filled with severed penises when the FBI raided the building.
Confused and angry. We thought this was going to be doing some good.
He even spotted a smaller head sewn onto a larger torso in a, quote, Frankenstein manner.
It wasn't a choice we made. It wasn't a choice any of the families made.
Body parts piled on top of each other inside Biological Resource Center, where families donated their loved ones for medical research.
Discoveries of sickness and disease, maybe come up with a cure.
Some company violated everything they promised.
Tragedy that's never resolved, and it just keeps going on and deeper and deeper.
The limbs, according to that agent, with no apparent identification. The company sued months after the FBI raided families claiming their loved ones weren't treated with dignity and respect, a promise written on their own consent forms. The company also accused of selling body parts for profit after saying they'd only use the parts they needed and would cremate the ones they didn't and return them. A torso with a head apparently went for $2,400, a leg about $1,100. They'd even sell knees and feet alone for under $500.
What is going on in the United States of America? Holy shit. Unreal. You know, I was just glad. It seems like that story is mostly people who donated dead family members for research. I was afraid when I first saw it that it was going to be migrants. But, Mike says, how much for a wing? Gus says someone watched too much Dahmer on Netflix. Gus, what's going on, man? Can this chop shop sale Biden a new personality? He needs a new head is what he needs, and a brain. He is so out of touch right now with what's going on. It's funny seeing his staff put up Twitter posts and getting corrected by readers added contact. Tries to skew the numbers all the time on inflation and gas prices and Thanksgiving dinners. He always gets nailed with readers added contacts. Unbelievable. Harry says, did you hear about the family who donated their mother for Alzheimer's and the company sold her for $6,000 for explosion? Yes, I did. I did see that. Yeah. I did see that. Yeah, sometimes, man, I got to get off Twitter because there's like some shit that just I wish I didn't hear. Honestly, like it is good that we are that platform is available so that a lot of things can get some light shed on them. But other times, I kind of wish I just didn't even hear some of these things. But yes, Harry Parrott, I did. And I will check my email. Mike, I wrote that down for tomorrow. All right, so let's get into this video. Let's get into this video about the plane and see what this guy's talking about. Now, I watched, like a week ago, I watched a 2-hour live stream that this guy did with another YouTuber, breaking this down in more of the science behind it. And I still can't understand the science. It has something to do with the way that light can distort time and space. And, you know, I'm just clearly not smart enough to figure the science out yet. I really have to do some more DD on it and dig into it. But let's watch this little clip. It's probably the most concise breakdown I've seen, so we don't have to go hours here. He kind of touches him and Iverson. All right, here we go. Let's make this.
This footage came from. So let's actually show this. So this is the original stereoscopic footage, right? So this is the side-by-side footage, and what we're seeing we see the plane flying. How do we know for sure that this is MH370?
Yeah. So the first indication is the only missing 777s out there. When you look at this satellite footage, we can see that it's light on the top and dark on the bottom, which is the same as Malaysian Airlines, which is white on the top with a red and white stripe and gray on the bottom. We can see the coordinates in the bottom left of the screen. It actually changes 6 times as the perspective changes. It actually changes 8, but we can only see the coordinates in 6. Turns where this plane was an agreed upon flight path by everybody until the South Indian Ocean, according to the official narrative, which we believe is just bunk. And the plane just simply never went to the South Indian Ocean. In the thermal image, it's an exact overlay of MH370. Pretty much the least controversial aspect of this case is that that's MH370 in there. I think most people, if even the debunkers, would agree that there's really no other plane that could possibly be needs to be this plane. It's turning. We've shown that it's maxing out the capabilities of a 777-200 while in descent. Descending, that it would actually be exceeding those maximum capabilities. So what we think we're seeing here, or actually I think what we know we're seeing is there's emergency landing very low, and that's indicated by these cumulus clouds we see in the background. These cumulus clouds only form between 1,000 and 5,000 feet, so this plane has to be at a very low altitude.
Okay, so what is it? Why is it side by side footage? Why do we see 2 different images?
And there's a little bit of controversy about when we're looking at it. We do see 2 different angles. Initially, when I look at this, I thought we must be seeing some duplicated footage for some reason.
Yeah, it looks like it's the same to me, like 2 of the same.
But it's slightly different. So if this is, this means that this is stereoscopic. Stereoscopic means you're looking at it with 2 different cameras. The same way with our eyes, that we see with really different angles with our eyes, where we can build a 3D image. And that's how human beings see. Same idea with the satellites here, but these satellites are in outer space. And so the idea here then is that they're so far away that you can barely see a difference, but we actually have several proofs, videos that are out there that show that if you flip between side A and side B, you see the clouds from the parallax effect.
Right. Okay. So where did this come from?
The footage was originally posted by Regicide Anon account, which is a UFO uploader account. Dates all the way back, according to the Internet Archives, to either March 12th, 2014, if you believe the received date in the description of the Regicide Anon video, or the published date of that video says May 19th, 2014, which is just 72 days after the.
So I see some of you guys asking this question about how do we know it's that plane? It was the first thing they said in the video, right? How they can identify the plane. But I was wondering the same thing myself. From the video, according to them, it's the position, the GPS position, and the information that's at the bottom of the footage that they can determine its location, knowing it was that flight. And from your eyes, the only thing you can tell is it's this type of plane. You can see markings on it and that it looks like it's a Malaysia Airlines flight because of the striping and stuff. But it's because of the timestamp on the drone footage. That's how they're getting it, and matching that with the satellite footage timestamp. That's how they are identifying it.
We believe that
so this was uploaded to YouTube.
Yes, uploaded to YouTube by this account. And the second of the drone was uploaded. It says received June 5th, 2014, published June 12th, 2014. So there's much less of a lag time in that second video.
Okay. So the thinking is that somebody uploaded this on March 12th, but then they hesitated on publish it until May. That's the thinking.
That's the current thinking, yes.
Okay. And then do we know where this, like, which satellites were that took this footage, or you know, because then it would look at this and say, oh, it's clearly faked. Right? That's what
look at it. Even I saw the drone footage back in 2014. We know that there's thousands of people that saw these videos back in 2014 as well. We've even been able to find a Reddit thread just in the last couple of days that back 8 years that describe these videos as well from two different perspectives. And we were able to reverse engineer and figure out what satellite was in the area. USA 229 is a NOS, Naval Ocean Surveillance Satellite pair, not just one, two satellites right next to each other. They were in the area looking down at 1840 UTC on March 7th, 2014, staring right at the agreed upon flight path of the plane. And we actually got the Malaysian Minister of Defense asking a question where somebody asked, we know there's U.S. spy satellites in the regions. Have you been in contact with them? And he responds, yes. Pretty much giving away the game, telling us that the United States government 100% had imagery of the plane in the area where they supposedly claim it turned into the South Indian Ocean. We're claiming that this footage was taken.
Okay. And
so guys, real quick, because I saw this in the live stream that they did. This is the satellite, and you can go to Wikipedia as far as you can trust Wikipedia. But this is what he's talking about. So this is the these are Navy satellites, so the military satellites. Is that up on the screen now? Yeah, there we go. Okay. And you can see that the one that they're talking about went up in 2012. This is where they're claiming that the footage is coming from, that satellite. Just to clarify that for you guys. All right, I'll get back to the video. I'll shut up.
Orbs. The thing about this footage is that there's these 3 orbs flying around, and then the plane seems to vanish. That's what we're seeing here.
Yeah, and we dug into this. We looked through a few different possibilities of what type of event we could be seeing. First of all, could it be cloaking? The problem with cloaking is that we see this smoke or exhaust that's coming out of the back of the plane stop the moment that the plane disappears. If it was a cloaking event, you would be able to cloak potentially all aspects of the plane, but you wouldn't be able to cloak the byproduct of the plane. Then early on, I
Okay.
thought, well, this had to be annihilation, that this plane is just being destroyed somehow, deatomized to some degree.
Yeah.
But the problem there is that if we go back to high school physics, we remember that E equals mc squared, which means that every bit of mass has a huge amount of potential energy in it. So if this plane destroyed the same way that a nuclear bomb would work, it's going to release so much energy that it would destroy part of the planet. Certainly a lot more than we see from these zaps that we see in both videos. Now, lastly, what that leaves then is a teleportation event. Now, teleportation is a crude approximation of what we'd be talking about. I like to refer to as teleportation or even a wormhole. Really what we're talking about is a macroscopic phase conjugation, macroscopic some coherence. So this plane is undergoing a phase state change. And this is the reason why these clouds nearby don't get blasted away. This is the reason why clouds don't get sucked in, because we're not a black hole. We're dealing with something that is more akin to what we see when we look at the double slit experiment, which is the most mysterious experiment, that there's a wave function that breaks down when we observe. And if we can reverse that to some degree of physics, then what we can do is we can have the plane move from a definitive point to a probabilistic point, essentially like cheating in a video game, where you can just move from one location to the other. Now, the engineers that I've been talking to, because I believe that these videos are real, we can explain every aspect of these videos, including the science, state that essentially what happened here is that, in layman's term, kind of a bubble around the plane that caused it to undergo this phase state change, where then it can be quantum entangled orb that can be in a different location. It can accelerate to superluminal speed of light or beyond, which is why we don't see it in the cameras, which have a fixed frame rate. It's moving so fast that we can't even see it happen. And then it's going to appear at the location of this fourth orb in potentially the very near future.
Kim's like,
So, I mean, and I am not a scientist. I'm not a physicist. So this is very difficult for people like me to totally grasp this airplane. Was that what we're saying, that this was that alien came and took?
A lot of people want to kind of be able to put down investigation by claiming that they think the aliens took the plane. What I'll say is all these videos was so blown away. I was seeing if they were real that even I thought this must be years more than we are. As I've dug into the case, followed the evidence, using the scientific method, coming up to figure out what makes the most sense, come to realize that this is most likely our technology. This is U.S. government technology. Some of the strongest evidence is that the people who are filming this, the big question people ask is why? We're filming for intelligence purposes. Why is there a drone there that can't catch the plane? Because the drone intercepted the plane. Why are we filming before the orbs even show up? Because this is an operation. Why does the drone zoom out right before the zap happens in the drone video? Again, they're expecting it. When I dug into the technology, started talking with engineers, I ended up having to create my own podcast because people wanted to talk to me about it, physicists, and because they tell me we can explain this. That in my looking at here is we're looking at third-party contractors' technology. If I had to guess, I'd say it's Lockheed Martin's technology. Now, in my mind, we can't be this secretly advanced without help. So I would speculate that there is some type of reverse engineering program out there, consistent with what whistleblower David Grush has told to Congress, who he sounds credible to me. I think it's a very high risk to speak to Congress under penalty of perjury. So I don't really have any reason not to believe him. And as I've looked at ufology these last...
Unless you're Ken Griffin and Vlad Tenev, all set.
5 or 6 years since I've become interested in it, it seemed like there's something there. So that I can't say with certainty the reverse engineering program situation, but I do think 100% in my mind that we are looking at terrestrial human technology, and it may be possible, although I put a very low probability, that we have gotten this advanced since we split the atom in the 40s. You know, I don't think we've been doing nothing for the last 90 years.
All right. Should I show that video on the technology, the light experiment, to try to explain what he's talking about, that would probably make sense, right? If we just watch that, the double slit experiment. Let me for you guys and see if this helps, because I had trouble understanding this experiment, but if you might make more sense, and maybe you guys can help me out, figure out what's going on here in this video. All right, hold on. Let me get this up. Share. Here we go. Okay. Screen now. The original double slit experiment. Hold on, I know it. I can see it's not. Come on. All right. Let's try that again. Here we go. Share. Now it should be up. There we go. Okay.
Like
Isn't it an element?
light is brightness. We have auras.
We all have auras.
Which are light?
Yes, they are. It lights up the room. It makes it.
What's the difference between blue light and red light? Color. It goes in your then you see stuff.
The range from white to red to orange, green. It's like chakras of your body.
Can you see my aura?
No, not particularly right now.
Is it too bright out?
It's very sunny out here today.
Does that make it harder to see someone's aura?
Not necessarily.
If I was to explain to a blind person, right, it would be the difference. You see nothing whatsoever as a blind person, whereas I see things in front of me.
To be fair, the question of what light is not an easy one. For centuries, the greatest minds in science debated this issue. In the late 1600s, Newton proposed that light was a stream of particles or corpuscles. He proposed this in his treatise Optics. But at the same time, a Dutch physicist named Huygens proposed that light was a wave. And this debate raged on until it was settled by the experiment today, Thomas Young's double slit experiment. To make sure I got the experiment right, I went to the original source. With the help of Brady Heron, I managed to get into the vault under the Royal Society in London.
I brought into the sunbeam a slip of art, 1/30th of an inch in breadth, and observed this shadow, either on the wall or on other cards held distances. Besides the fringes of colors on each side of the shadow itself was divided into similar parallel fringes of smaller dimensions. Wow.
This is an example that you could make it at home, and yet so that I've never seen it before done with sunlight.
I was thinking about doing it in a box, like a fridge box.
And you could take it out on the street.
Taking it out on the street.
Could I possibly interview you guys for about a minute? We're doing a science experiment. What I have here is an empty box. And this is a little eyepiece we're going to look in, and this is a hole. And I'm going to place this slide above that hole. And if you look closely, you'll see that there's two openings, very narrow openings side by side. It's a double slit. Now before, we need to tilt it towards a little bit. So we want the sun to hit this double slit directly. What are we going to see on the bottom of the box?
The obvious thing you think you can see two lines.
Two lines on the bottom of the box. Two bright bands.
Two little lines.
Yeah. I think it'll be one line instead of two.
I can expect to see the whole box lit up.
Probably a telescope of some sort.
A bunch of colors.
Probably, yeah.
Rainbow, different colours.
There, look. You expected to see kind of one line. Is that what you see?
No.
I see dots.
How many?
It's one circle.
Well, there's one in the middle strongest, two either side.
The two on the outside are multicolored, and the one in the middle is just white.
It's kind of a rainbow.
The rainbow of colour as well.
Quite a few colours, little dots.
Like they're more disappearing.
I think I can even see more dots spreading along. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I can see tons of dots now. Not tons, but I can see dots spreading. That's that way.
Either side.
Yeah, definitely.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, incredible. And that's just nothing else apart from
Two slits.
two slits. That's incredible.
But all we're doing is we're putting light through two very narrow slits side by side. How does that?
There's some kind of principle involved there that the average person is not familiar with. That's the only explanation.
No, I'm real confused by it, but I'd like to find out why.
People were debating, is light a wave or is it made of particles?
So what causes that?
Well, if light were behaving as particles, you would expect them to go through each slit and just produce a bright spot underneath. We would see two bright spots on the bottom of the box. But if light is behaving as waves, then the wave from one slit can interact with the waves from the other slit. I've got a demonstration here on a little pond where we can see this with water waves. I have two of ripples, which are basically like the two slits. When I create ripples with a single source, they travel out with circular wave fronts. Nothing particularly surprising there. But if I add a second source of ripples, then we start getting an interesting pattern. This pattern is created by the ripples from the two sources interacting with each other. Where they meet up, peaks with peaks and troughs with troughs, the amplitude is increased. That's what we call constructive interference. But if the peak from one wave meets up with the trough from the other, then we get destructive interference and there's basically no wave there. And this is exactly what was happening with the light. When the light from one slit met up, peaks with peaks and troughs with troughs destructively interfered and produced a bright spot. But if the trough from the wave from one slit met up with the peak of the wave from the slit, they would destructively interfere and you wouldn't see any light there. It's light cancelling itself out.
This is basically the same as like having two drops of water fall in a swamp.
That's right.
Exactly the same
And then
pattern.
they go and overlap. As this ripple overlaps with those ripples, down the bottom, you get a series of, you get like a bright spot, then a dark spot, then a bright spot, then a dark spot, then a bright spot. Slight complication, which is that sunlight is composed of many different colors, and they have wavelengths. So obviously they're going to meet up at slightly different points. And that's what caused the rainbowing effects as we go further from the central maximum. You saw the ones to the right were slightly colored.
Yeah,
that's because the reds are going to meet up at different places than the blues.
And that's all the differences, different wavelengths.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
So the difference between red
so
and blue,
the red bin over there and the green, the good part is just, I'm seeing
It's
that,
a
and
different-
it's just different
different
wavelengths. And that's how we bring in all these beautiful colours all around.
Exactly.
That's amazing. I'm amazed. Oh, good. Johnny, thanks.
Hey. Thank you.
I have been enlightened, literally.
All right, more sons. I'm still not seeing how the cast though. Like, okay, maybe our eyes are seeing it disappear, but where is the actual, the people? Right? I get how they can. So I get how they can deceive the eye. If light is particles, which according to this experiment, it is. Where did the people in the plane go? Right? That's still unheard or unknown question. I don't think. Let me say hey to some people in the chat. I saw Tony was in here. T, if you're still here, what's going on? And Mike, I did look at the email. I'm gonna watch the video as soon as we get off. Your wife's boyfriend, how you doing tonight? Punchy Nuts is in here. He says the Photoshop was debunked. Many have tried to debunk and they can't. Yeah, I heard their reward is up to like 150,000 if someone can debunk the video. Even some ordinary gamers, I think, try to debunk it, or he tried to correlate it to some video game from the 90s that was where the when you that's from some video game in the 90s, but that's been utterly debunked as far as I know right now. Harry says you have to understand what we really have that the government doesn't talk about. Yeah, I see, and that's the thing, Harry. I don't think this is like maybe the tech we got, and like he said, we've reversed engineered it. But I don't think that that aliens took that plane. I think this is U.S. Military technology or contracted out military technology. It's probably not the actual military. Because, like, again, how do you keep this kind of all this time? Floyd, what's going on, man? Good to see you tonight. Tony says, didn't they find parts of the plane distant beaches eventually? So they found a piece of Tony, but there was no serial number on it where it was supposed to be. So yeah, I looked into that. Let me show you that, because that's been proven. Only thing they could tell was that it came from a 777. 777 Malaysia. Where is it? MX. What's the call letters on the plane again? 370. Let me see here. Yeah, because I wondered that too. They did, and you know, the thing about this is, and they talked about this, was a plane that hit the ocean on a nosedive or whatever, which way. There's no way they would never have found any of the debris field and sent up by now. MH370X. 370X. Piece discovered. And we'll do, we need like a parts number or identification number. Okay, here we go. Let me throw this up. Share. Okay. MH370. And I think the wording here is important, right? When we're talking about this. Why are we not sharing? Right. That's what Adam, that's what I heard. Okay, so let me put this up. I don't know why I'm jumping off here. I'm not able to put this screen up. Why is it saying unable to share screen? There we go. Okay. So a serial number on aircraft wreckage recovered on the Indian Ocean island, a Boeing 777. A Malaysian official said Friday, increasing the possibility that it came from missing Malaysian. The wing components bear the part numbers 57BB in the Boeing, identifying it as a flaperon and telling workers to place it on the right wing. Boeing. The 2-meter-long piece of sent for analysis to France, where it's due to arrive. Aeronautic experts will station it and damage to the debris. I believe we are being closer. Yes, so that was the whole thing, right? And that in this part, but no way to confirm it was from that actual plane. Because I remember hearing that too. Lizzie says Lizzie, that's the that was what kind of got me into this story. The Laura Lodge's live stream he did with him. Yeah. That was the one that kind of got me hit me off to this whole going on with this plane. That was a pretty good interview. That was a long one. They did like 2 hours on that. Carl J says, Unreal seen many vids of orbs on video caught zipping through the atmosphere. That I've seen, right? I've seen a lot of videos of the orb, but like, what the hell are they? And Lizzie, if you remember in that live stream, they showed actually the energy because they had it on the heat signature, right? The FLIR or the LiDAR that picked it up. It showed the energy that those balls, the energy was actually pulling the orbs. It wasn't being pushed. There was something in front of the orbs that were pulling them, wrapping them closer and closer to the plane. And then at one point, you can tell in the video. Let me see if I can put the drone footage up. All right, let's see. All right, here it is. I don't know if it's going to have an explanation with it, but this is the footage. Close stuff down. Here we go. All right, let me make this big. I don't know if this is going to be talking on this or if there's going to be, it might just be video. All right, so this isn't the FLIR footage. This is the footage we saw earlier. I'll find the FLIR footage for us. That is fucking crazy. That is so crazy. And I guess somebody or that's working. Oh, here it is. This is the one I was looking for. Here we go. This is it. This is from the drone. Okay. And this is what we were saying earlier about the lithium-ion batteries in the belly of the plane. Look like they go on fire right before it zaps. You'll see a heat signature get picked up. See the red? Right under the wing? All right, so the red is actually, the red is actually the engine. It's the orange that's behind the red. See the orange behind the red of the engine? And then bloop. I don't know. That's just fucking crazy. They said the people at CGI, the people who did Top Gun Maverick, said this would take like months and months of work to be able to coordinate between the FLIR footage we just watched and then the two different satellite angles, that it would have taken months to try to coordinate that and put that all together on those three different formats and have it all match up perfectly. The special effects guy said that at Top Gun Maverick. This video came out, was dropped on YouTube 2 weeks after the plane disappeared. There's just no way. Harry Parrott says that was debunked. Also, the wreckage was planted. That's possibly the case because they couldn't have gotten the original piece, but they definitely haven't matched up any serial numbers to properly be able to identify it came from that actual flight, that plane from Malaysian Airlines. Carl J says you're extremely closed-minded if you believe humans are the only game in town. Hell, we only have 6,000 years of written history. Laughable. Harry Parrott says you have to understand who was on the flight. Yeah, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about the passenger list, right? Who these guys were. This is important to the story. This is interesting. I just saw this when I was doing this search. Show you guys this. I haven't seen this yet. This is from that same year, from 2014. From NBC, actually. It says girlfriend of passenger from flight MH370. On the screen right now. Here we go. I had not seen this yet. This says girlfriend of MH370 passenger, something is being covered up. Sarah Jack, girlfriend of an American passenger aboarding Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370, says something is being covered up in the investigation. Hopefully this is on the screen for you guys. As relatives mark the 6-month anniversary of Boeing 777's disappearance, she believes there are active steps being taken to interfere with finding the plane. Remember, this is 6 months. Bajik among 350 family members of passengers aboard the missing jet who have demanded data be released for independent analysis amid questions of how the investigation has been conducted. She's preparing to move from Beijing to live with passenger Philip Wood, the 50-year-old Texas native. IBM Malaysia employee at Kuala Lumpur. Our opinion investigation team is left in charge. We may never find the plane because I believe there are active steps being taken to interfere with finding the plane. Wow. Asked by what she meant, Bajik said she wasn't sure. Failure to release information, whether it's obfuscation, covering something up, or dishonesty, creating false evidence, or just hiding something. We don't know why or what is being covered up, but something is. The reality is that without proof of a crash and without any kind of bodies, we have to hold out hope the passengers are still alive. Bajik also called on airlines to immediately adopt round-the-clock GPS tracking of aircraft, a measure that she said would be expensive. But we now know they already had that. The U.S. military has satellites that are covering every inch of the planet. It's scanning the planet 24 hours a day that are overlapping on some some of the footage that they're taking are getting taken from 2 different satellites at one time. That's how they were able to pull, because that satellite footage that we see of the plane is actually two different angles. All right, let me go back to the list of passengers, because that is extremely important when we come talking about this. All right. This is the actual flight log, but what we want is what they actually did for jobs. That's what I really want, because the scientists, this is from Snopes. Huh. I haven't seen these articles until tonight, just because I hadn't heard much before we came on tonight for this. I wasn't going live tonight. I just thought there were some people up. They might be interested in conspiracy. This is also from 2014. French ex-airline boss claims cover up on MH370. Hopefully you guys can see this on the screen. Former airline boss and famous French author argued Thursday that they're in a cover-up in the disappeared Malaysia flight MH370, speculating that the passenger jet could have been hacked and then shot down by the U.S. Dugain, a well-respected French author, argues that Boeing 777 carrying 239 people crashed near Diego Garcia, a British island in the middle of the Indian Ocean, used as a strategic air force and intelligence base by the U.S. military. So we know now that that drone footage was launched from Diego Garcia. That's where the drone came from. The latest theory into the disappearance of Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 on March 8, 2014 has all the ingredients of a spy thriller and has grabbed the French public's attention. The former boss of Proteus Airlines traveled to neighboring Maldives, where residents told local media that they had seen an airliner flying in the direction of Diego Garcia. Their claims were promptly dismissed by authorities. I saw a huge plane fly over us at low altitude. A fisherman, I don't know how that's pronounced, Island Todain. I saw red and blue stripes on a white background, the colors of Malaysia Airlines. Other witnesses confirmed the sight. Fire on board. Dugain speculates, adding to the numerous other existing hypotheses about what happened to flight MH370, that a modern aircraft such as their Boeing could have been hijacked by a hacker. In 2006, Boeing patented a remote control system using a computer placed inside or outside the aircraft, he noted. This technology led Dugain to the remote hijacking, but the writer also suggests that a fire could have led the crew to deactivate electrical devices, including transmission systems. Whatever the initial reasons were for leaving its flight path, Dugain suspects that the plane then headed to Diego Garcia, where a number of scenarios may have played out, including the U.S. Air Force shooting it down for fear of a September 11 style attack. Cover up. The rest of the article draws more conclusions from the information that has remained buried than from new facts. The writer notes that the search operation in the southern Indian Ocean was based on satellite data from a UK-based Inmarsat the last organization to receive a signal, the airliner, which is very close to intelligence agencies. For Dugain, the suppression of testimonies from the Maldives, the unlikely event that Diego Garcia's U.S. intelligence officers, equipped with the best technology in the world, may have lost a 63-meter-long object, and the secrecy surrounding the cargo and the plane's hold all point towards a large-scale cover-up. So does the advice of Western intelligence officer, a British one, Dugain said in a radio interview on Thursday, who cautioned him against the risks of investigating the flight's disappearance and suggested that he let time do its work instead. Interesting. All right, let's look at the passenger list. This is what Harry Parrott was talking about. Among the 239 people on board, which disappeared on March 8, 2014, was a party of Chinese calligraphers, a couple returning to their young sons after a beach getaway, and a construction worker making his first trip. There were 14 nationalities. The majority of people, 153, were Chinese. All right, so let me see if I can find the scientists. Here we go. Dr. Yu-Chen Li recently finished his doctoral engineering degree from University. He had recently begun working in a prominent geotechnical position. Think about that. A geotechnical position at university in Beijing. Yu-Chen was a hugely talented and likable person with a brilliant career. Fed a group of 24 Chinese artists and 5 staff. Let's see. Canadian employed by U.S. firm X Coal. IBM exec Philip Wood. Was there 3 Americans on the plane? Veteran martial arts expert and stunt double for Jet Li. Six members were from the same generation. Friends, diplomats. Here we go. This is it here. This is the big one. The co-workers. Also on the plane were 20 staff members from a U.S. technology company, Freescale Semiconductor, which makes powerful microchips for industries, including defense. 12 employees were from Malaysia and 8 were from China. The company said it was deeply saddened by the news in a statement on the website. Freescale Semiconductor. Out of Austin, Tony. This is in your backyard. All right, this is what we want to look up. Because there was something about the tech they were working on. Here we go. Loss of employees on Malaysia flight, a blow, U.S. chipmaker says. Employees of Freescale Semiconductor, who were on a Malaysia Airlines flight presumed to have crashed, were doing sophisticated work at a U.S. chipmaker, company said on Sunday. The 20 Freescale employees, 39 on the flight MH370, were mostly engineers and other experts working to make the company's chip facilities in Tianjin, China, and Kuala Lumpur more efficient. These were people with a lot of experience and background, and they were very important people. Said it's definitely a loss for the company. None of the Austin, Texas-based Freescale's most senior executives were on board the Boeing 777 that vanished from radar screens about a half an hour after it took off from Kuala Lumpur for Beijing on Saturday. The employees, 12 from Malaysia and 8 from China. 20 engineers are hard to come by for chip makers and other technology companies, and losing them can have a major impact on business regardless of while the employees on the flight account for less than 1% of Freescale's global workforce, they were working towards the same goals, and their loss will be reverberated through Freescale. They have been streamlining facilities in Tianjin and Kuala Lumpur that Freescale uses for testing and packaging chips in automobiles, products, telecommunications infrastructure, and industrial equipment. All right, let's see if there's some more conspiracy stuff here. And I believe, I forget if Motorola had just bought out Freescale or if bought out Motorola. Went. Yeah, because if you guys remember, there was reports that the airliner, the pilot, was like some kind of terror, but he took the plane that was flying over two major cities or planning on it and died for some reason. Its disappearance triggered the largest search in aviation history, save for a few pieces along the coast of Africa and in the Indian Ocean. The aircraft had been deliberately taken off course. Other theories for the plane include mechanical failure or a high. The 40 relatives made their appeal for new investigation as their claim for aircraft manufacturer Boeing, engine makers insurance group opened in Chinese court. They asked for effective communication with the Malaysian government to launch a search. I want is Malaysia Airlines gives me what I want now is for them to resume the search for the investigation. In 2016, Malaysian officials had plotted a path over the Indian Ocean flight simulator at home, but stress did not prove he deliberately crashed the plane. A final report into released in 2018 pointed to failings by air traffic control and said the plane's course right. All right, let me I'm gonna drop the sharing the screen because it looks like we're getting a little lag here. I'll get back to the anything else up. It'll be interesting to you guys. All right, Titan, what's going on, man? Taco Run Shop got us. Thank you, man. Appreciate you hitting the thumbs up. Floyd says, look into NASA. Some of the deathbed confessions and memoirs are very interesting. My favorite. Put this up. My favorite is the man that said, if you can imagine it, we can do it. Well, I have a good imagination. They can do it. Adam says, Tony, I haven't seen any debris reports that are verified to come from this flight. One report of debris shortly after the flight went missing could not be tied to this plane. Your wife's boyfriend says probably a U.S. experiment. Yeah, question is how well, a couple things. Why was the drone following the plane? Who leaked that footage? Oh, by the way, that's another thing I can show you guys. This is interesting. Let's talk about the United States military personnel. That name was Corporal Lynn. Let me see here. Here he is. This is him. This is him. Let me put this up for you guys. This was interesting. There are a lot of theories out there that this is the guy that leaked the original footage from the drone. Come on, computer. God damn it. Okay, here we go. Edward Lynn will serve serious for mishandling classified information, not reporting foreign contact. Naval Station, Norfolk, Virginia. A naval officer who pleaded guilty to mishandling classified information and not reporting foreign contacts will 6 years of confinement and be dismissed from the Navy. A military judge ruled in Friday's sentencing. Commander Edward Lynn, 40, was sentenced to 9 years with at least 3 suspended as part of his pretrial agreement with the government, along with a 646-day credit for time served in pretrial confinement. Lynn could be released from the brig in about 4 years. He pleaded guilty last month to mishandling classified information, not reporting foreign contacts, and putting U.S. destinations on leave request when he had planned to leave the country. The admission of guilt was in part a plea arrangement reached in April between the defense team and prosecutors. In exchanges for admitting to lesser charges, Lynn did not face 2 instances of espionage and 3 instances of attempted espionage, which were most serious charges the government preferred last. Instead, they, under federal law, communication with secret information with a U.S. citizen who worked for a Taiwanese political party and an undercover FBI agent. While this case didn't turn out to be foreign intelligence, not really a spy case, the sentence sends a strong message to the force about taking care to safeguard classified and sensitive information. Lynn, by his own admission before a military judge, was sloppy with handling classified information and arrogantly attempting to impress women with information he knew. I get physically ill when I think about the damage I could have caused from my actions, Lynn said on Friday. I'm exhausted and broken in spirit. The best thing I can do is serve as a cautionary tale to others. Federal officials began investigating Lynn in early 2014, think about the timing, based on an FBI tip that he may have been sharing sensitive information with foreign agents. NCIS Special Agent Chris Mitchum told the court on Thursday. The Navy and Department of Justice then mounted a joint NCIS FBI investigation into Lynn's foreign contacts with a focus on the year he worked in D.C. He served under the staff of Vice Admiral Joseph Malloy, then the Assistant Secretary of the Navy for Financial Management and Comptroller. Lynn had previously served as his aide when he did a tour in the U.S. Pacific in the mid-2007s to 2009. Lynn also had developed a relationship with Janice Chen, who worked for the Taiwanese Democratic Progressive. Oh, Jesus. And was registered foreign agent. As part of his plea, Lynn admitted to sending Chen emails on his takes on international news stories that included analysis based on classified or operational planning on the carrier, USS Dwight Eisenhower. In 2013, he arranged a meeting with the head of the Taiwanese Navy, lied about his destination to leave request, and did not report the encounter. The start of Lynn's investigation began shortly after he reported to one of the Navy's most secretive units, the Special Projects Squadron 2 Wizards, based at Marine Corps Air Base Kanoe, Hawaii. The Wizards fly specialized versions of the service's P-3C Orion and P-8A Poseidon aircraft used for signals and electronic intelligence gathering. I'm trying to remember how they connected him to this information. If it was just the date that they investigated, it says MH370X. I don't know if he's going to come up in here anywhere. Oh, here's something from Reddit. Obviously, guys, this is Reddit. So let's just see what it says, though. Sorry, this post was deleted by a person who... Vindication videos are real. Edward C. Lynn is original leaker serving prison time for it. The lead of Marvel's VFX team pretty much confirmed it would take 6 months to fake the SAT satellite and FLIR videos. Secondly, there's been symposiums found years ago of the Navy discussing using superconductors, going back to the scientists that were on the plane, right? That's what they were doing. They were doing research on superconductors. For amphibious vehicles, they needed chips to pull it off. Freescale was just so happening to be working on these chips, brought the puzzle pieces together, which is the guy we watched earlier, and angles nobody was looking for. Till recently, like, nobody was aware of the Navy stuff. And even the 2005 NSA documents, they've been secretly working on room temp SCS for years. They need superconductors to break the speed barrier, so the plane isn't technically teleporting, like if you watch Dragon Ball Goku. Is so fast that to observers, he's teleporting around, but he's actually just that fast. The plane is so fast with superconductor chips engines, however, they implemented it that the observer appears to disappear instantly. It's all exotic propulsion. I think LK-99, which is also linked to this in some ways, was a red herring distraction. They would never in their right mind allow the public access to RTSCs. It would make them lose too much leverage, so they need to protect it for national security reasons. What's the bigger question? Where is the plane right now? What happened to it? Or where did they get the tech from? I don't know which I'm more interested in knowing the answer to. Loop going on, man. Thank you, my friend. Happy holidays to you. Brother Hodler. See you, man. See, we're not talking about anything. Well, actually, we're talking about the government tonight. We are talking a little bit about conspiracies. Appreciate you, brother. Punchy Nut says that was the particle splits in the hole in the wall when you watch BS when you don't look. Adam says we need those engineers to bend time and make AMC squeeze already. I like to teleport myself to one of these hedge funds' offices. I can get in and get their records. See what they're really doing behind the scenes. How they're fucking us. Your wife's boyfriend says, can you show the YouTube how a tree can provide electricity to a light bulb? I don't know if I've seen that, your wife's boyfriend. Where was that, on Twitter? So I wanted to show you guys. And it wasn't the Jets. Oh, yeah. Yeah, can we talk a little January 9? Actually, let me show you this, just because this is probably more important than... Not the January 6th isn't that everyone should know about, that the mainstream media is not talking about at all. And earlier today. So this DOD guy from the U.S. Navy Medical Office is talking about some of the hard issues that's going on with pilots right now. And I know you guys have seen it happening with commercial airliners as well. I want to show you guys what this guy said. It's pretty wild. And he actually just got relieved from duties. I believe that's what it was. Or he got his security clearance locked out or something to the effect. He might say it in this post, but you guys should definitely see this. It should concern all of us. So this is the video here where he talks about this. It's kind of disturbing. And then I'll get right back to the chat. This is, we know this stuff. Because this is going on with commercial airliner. So this guy works for DOD. His name is Lieutenant Ted Macy. Here we go. Okay. Breaking: DOD blocks U.S. Navy computer access after he exposed data of heart issues among pilots during mandatory COVID-19 vaccinations. Lieutenant Ted Macy, an active duty officer in the United States Medical Service Corps and whistleblower, had denied access to his after he exposed an increase in heart-related issues for pilots post-COVID-19 vaccinations. The data presented by Lieutenant Macy reveals a dramatic spike in heart-related ailments among those fixed-wing and helicopter pilots. All right, so let's see what he.
Also acknowledged things such as myocarditis rising 151. So what I did, I went in today, doing the same average, however I'm comparing it to 2022, and I only am using fixed wing pilots and helicopter pilots, active duty. So we get hypertensive disease, 36%, ischemic disease, 69%, pulmonary heart disease, 62%, heart failure, 973%, other forms of heart disease, 63%, cardiomyopathy, 152%. So in July, Undersecretary Assistant.
That's pretty incredible, man. Why would you see those kind of spikes in number for relatively healthy guys, especially pilots? Extremely alarming to me, man. Alarming. As most of our advancements come out from Operation Paperclip. Lupe, it's all good, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, bro. Adam says, much love, Lupe. Adam says, Gen X, we're still doing space exploration. Is the video getting chopped up? Shit. I probably lost some people. Toast and Black. Table Rock Guy, what's going on, my brother? How you doing tonight? Bulldog Trading, what's going on, man? How are you? Good to see you. Hopefully we fix this stream. Let me put the chat up. Let me know if you guys can if it's choppy right now or what. Thing. Adam says the next generation on Earth have to be artificial life support because they will no longer be able to breathe without conscious thought for breathing. Carl J says light can be bent. Fact. Adam says, Mass, the consensus on the AJ show is that the orbs breathed the plane into hyperspace. that would have disintegrated everything to keep this technology from being disclosed. Okay. So that would make sense to me. That would make sense to me. If they were trying to destroy all or anything on that plane, because think about it. Think about where the plane was flying. Although it was going to Beijing, right? So did they know something? Were they about to drop some secrets to Chinese intelligence? I was thinking that because the fire had started, that maybe they had their eye on the plane from before because of who was on board. But like, how did they know that lithium ion, those batteries were going to start a fire in the belly of the plane? How could they possibly have known that, right? Carl says, space looks way different in infrared spectrum. See things your eyes can't. Yeah, that's it, right? For sure. We know that for sure, right? Floyd says, help Mass out and hit the like button and share. Appreciate you, Floyd, man. Thank you. 24 Money says, like the show Lost. A bloop? Yeah, I know. That's exactly what I thought of when you see it on the screen, right? 24 the Money, how you doing, man? Good to see you tonight. Adam says, shoreline debris not conclusively tied to the plane. Yeah, for sure. Anything Goes says, the passengers were sedated while on the plane and kidnapped while the plane was taken to a secure location and later dismantled. That's why there was never no real debris found. Because you would have to think, right? If a plane like that flying over the Indian Ocean, going however many miles per hour it was going, crashed, you would have debris field you'd have bodies that would be floating, cushions, all kinds of stuff that would not sink right away, probably not for days. I mean, the bodies would be up there for a number of days, right? Until all the gases expired from inside. You would have seen something. There would have been miles of wreckage, possibly. There's no way that thing just disappeared and just went under the waves and was never spotted again. I mean, it's not like the TV show Lost, right? It's Honey Horse, what's going on tonight? Caleb, good to see you, bro. How you doing tonight? Carl says those orbs move so fast it would crush a human from the G-force. That's another thing, right? How would that not, all that pressure? Again, I understand the optics of it and bending the light. I'm trying to think of it like the way that they explained it on Rogan with what's the guy out chat? Help me out. Bob Lazar. When Bob Lazar talked about the energy in the disk and how it moved, how they were able to accelerate the particles on the bottom of the craft, and then it would go up and form almost like a top, right? And there was a conductor that he said was at the top of the craft, and it formed basically like a force field around it to bend light. So I'm trying to think of it that way. But I don't think that's the same concept. The science part is hard for me, guys. Punchy Nut says they had a bunch of smuggled iPhones on the bottom of the plane. Is that what they think the lithium-ion batteries were? Carl J says World War II pilots reported orbs. That's where the term Foo Fighters comes from. Is it really? Anything Goes says they only found one piece of debris that was planted, led to people to believe the plane went down the ocean. And the fact that they couldn't match the serial numbers to the actual itself, I mean, that could have been... How many scrapyards out there have some pieces of a Boeing 777 in them, probably? Or if the government wanted to get their hands on them, I mean, we get hundreds of millions of dollars in contracts with Boeing. If we wanted to fake a plane crash, it wouldn't be that hard to get our hands on the materials. Adam says, does anyone other than me remember reports of ball lightning back in the 90s? Could ball lightning be used for orb testing? I don't know. Carl J says ball lightning moves erratic. That's yeah. I didn't think it went. I mean, these orbs, you can tell they almost look AI generated, don't they? Like, and again, how are they just floating in space like that? I mean, there's no. Again, it looks like in the video they're being pulled, not that there's any drag on them. Honey Horse, no, this was this was Malaysia Flight 370X, MH370X, which was in 2014. It's a plane that's been missing for shit. We're about to be up on 10 years now, right? And it never ever found a piece of it yet. Harry says the orbs were moving in such a way that they opened a portal, so it looks. Yeah, I mean, if we actually have recovered craft, like Lazar has said, like Grouch has said, like many of these people have said, that we have, you know, upwards of 9 to 12 of these UAVs that we've recovered. Again, I still have a couple questions. Why is it only the US has them? Why is it only our military that has gotten our hands on these? They haven't crashed anywhere else in the world. My other question is, how is it possible that they're so smart, they're so much more advanced than we are, but every time, or you know, a number of times now, they've come to the planet and not been able to either land, or why don't they come back for their craft? Why do they just leave them and abandon them? Like, there's so many other questions that come along when you talk about the recovery of these crafts. Like Lazar said that in some of the stuff he read, he thought possibly they could have been from archaeological digs. Does it? I mean, that would be like, you know, would you leave if you just bought a Tesla Cybertruck and you smacked it up on the highway? Would you just walk away forever and never go tow it and try to get it fixed, or try to recover it and just call it a loss? Honey Horse says, last time I checked, satellites only look downwards, not at a sidewards angle. So Honey Horse, they explained that. Let me see if I can find the drawing or even the video. I'm worried about it getting choppy though. I'm losing you guys. Hold on. Because they're able to show how they were picking up these two different angles. Oh, maybe this is it here. So there's low orbit and there's low orbit satellites which come very close to the planet at like almost like they're oblong. And then there's more on a more wider path, some of the satellites. Here we go. Here we go. Maybe this will be able to explain it a little better. Let me see if one of these graphics, if I can find the right one, will be golden. The right graphic. Yeah, okay, here we go. Maybe this will help. I'll put it up right on the screen so we don't lose. Just gonna close this for 1 sec. Hold on. Put this graphic right on the screen. This is kind of how they were explaining it during the podcast. So this is Raytheon technology in this picture I'm going to put up. Oh, wrong place. I went on an overlay. All right, here we go. I think we're going to have to erase this. There we go. All right. Now I can put this down here. Yeah, so these satellites are from Raytheon, and the military uses this to track any kind of incoming missiles or outgoing missiles. But I'll throw it up as soon as it does. Here we go. All right. So let me make this small so you guys can see. So these satellites, the Raytheon ones that the military is using, are able to scan at they're constantly moving back and forth, right, against the planet, like in a wide sweeping motion. And this system that they have, they use this for specifically missile tracking for U.S. Space Agency. Let me see if I can get a better one here. Oh, yeah, here's another one. So, and this is like, think about, there's multiple satellites up at once. Like, here's some from Northrop Grumman. This is actually a better image. Much better image. Let me put it. Because this shows how they can use multiple different satellites from even different manufacturers to pull in, draw down in. All right. So this is not Raytheon. This is Northrop Grumman. Now, we've already been on for an hour and 40 minutes already. Holy shit. I wasn't even planning on coming on. I was planning on coming on for like 20 minutes. Literally. All right, here we go. Yeah, so you guys can see here how and these new satellites, the new ones that they are talking about that have taken this footage from MH370, they were brand new. They had just gone up, as I showed you guys in the beginning of the video, to track every plane and boat. So they're able to pick up both signatures from below. And like I said, they overlapped, had multiple different angles that they were able to recreate that view that we saw. Same thing to myself. Like, wouldn't it be strong? How would you be able to get a different angle? But if you had two of them from another satellite, it would make sense. They said for the entire globe 24/7, multiple satellites are sending back, receiving video from the planet 24/7. I guess there's a lot of overlapping, which would make sense because we can never find any of our defense budgeting. Probably a lot of it's going there. Punchy Nut says Diego Garcia is another Guantanamo Bay. Adam says Diego Garcia is Biden's future vacation home. Harry Parrott says calling BS, the U.S. knows who was on that plane. Yeah, man, that makes more sense to me. The fact that they had the drone up and that close to the plane. I mean, I guess they could have scrambled it that fast, right? To pick it up and get that footage. But to me, it's more likely that they either, like he said, like Ashton said, that this was a pre-planned thing, that they were going to do this no matter what. Who knows? I don't know why. Mike says, do you remember when the aliens stole 9% of our portfolios? Adam says, just a tinfoil hat wearing, looking for entertaining conversations. Yeah, that's all I mean, dude, I didn't have a real purpose coming on here tonight. Like I said, I was getting tired of recording and talking to myself in this room all day. I started working that video last night at like 9 o'clock at night. I went to bed at 3 and then got up and finished it today. That was a crazy interview with Whitney Webb and Redacted, huh? That definitely concerns me, man, that these guys have this much sway over the world governments right now. Like, I've seen some countries putting up some stink about it, especially with the UN and the World Health Organization. But they definitely have, I mean, they are currently conspiring to do this shit to us. Like, and it seems like no one in government gives a shit. I don't know if you guys didn't see the video earlier. Go check it out if you have a chance. Whenever you sign off. But this is Whitney's article from back in 2021. And they actually brought up the meme stocks and what happened back in January. Like, they definitely panicked about that. It's amazing to see how many times this has been brought up when we're talking about like national security. Make this a little bigger. So, because I didn't get to go through too much of this article in the video, because I want to kind of let her talk. But here it is right now. So, advisors now to join the WEF Carnegie Project include representatives of central banks, including the U.S. Federal Reserve, infamous banks such as Bank of America, J.P. Morgan, law enforcement organizations such as Interpol and the U.S. secret giants such as Amazon and Accenture, and global financial institutions, including the International Monetary Fund and SWIFT. Other notable advisors include the managing director, the head of WF Cybersecurity, Jeremy Jurgens, who is also a key player in the Cyber Polygon simulation, and Steve Silberstein, the CEO of the Financial Services Information Sharing and Analysis Center. Not a question of if, but when. The Cyber Policies Initiative's November 2020 report is officially titled International Strategy to Better Protect Our Financial System. It begins by noting that the global financial system, like many others, is going through unprecedented digital transformation, which is being accelerated by the coronavirus pandemic. He then warns malicious actors are trying to take advantage of digital transformation and pose a growing threat to the global financial system, financial stability, and confidence and integrity of the financial system. Malign actors are using cyber capabilities to steal from, disrupt, or otherwise threaten financial institutions, investors, and the public. These actors include not only increasingly daring criminals, but also states and state-sponsored attackers. Not long after Lagarde's warning in April 2020, the Bank for International Settlements Financial Stability Board asserted that cyber incidents pose a threat to the stability of the global financial system, and the major cyber incident, if not properly contained, could seriously disrupt financial systems, including critical financial infrastructure, leading to broader financial stability implications. The report's authors argued that in the event of a crisis, such a devastating cyber attack on the global banking system, social media companies, and this is what we talked about in the video the other day, right? About the FCC now controlling, our ability to get onto the internet, should swiftly amplify, because they've just been thrown out of. This has all been taken to court now by some of the social media companies, and the courts have said that the administration has to stay out of control and influence over these media sites. so that central banks may debunk fake information and calm the markets. It also states that financial authorities, financial services firms, and tech companies, including social media companies, should develop a clear communication and response plan focused on being able to react swiftly. Notably, both Facebook and Twitter are listed in the report's appendix as industry stakeholders that have engaged with the WEF Carnegie Initiative, which is like why I find it so much more important now that Elon has control of Twitter, because back in the day, so like, let's say that something like this does happen, and you know, all the meme stocks start running, or who knows, maybe it's just AMC or GME or whatever the case may be. Imagine all of a sudden these guys are able to step in and say, all right, shut it down, because they mention here about 2021, right? They specifically went into that to say how unstable things are. Here, it says, as for influence operations, the report divides these into two categories: those that target individual firms and those that target markets overall. Regarding the first category, the report states that organized actors will spread fraudulent rumors to manipulate stock prices and generate profit based on how much the price of the stock was artificially moved. It adds that in influence operations, firms and lobbyists use astroturfing campaigns, which will create a false appearance of grassroots support to tarnish the value of a competing brand, or attempting to sway policy-making decisions by abusing calls for online public comments. The similarities between this latter statement and the Wall Street Bets phenomena of January 2021 are obvious. Yeah, man, this is extremely scary. And imagine at the same time they use that as a false flag to go to war with one of our perceived enemies out there. Fuck. And then, you know, you come up with the decision. It's just like the people in the military and the nurses at the hospitals a couple of years ago who had a choice to either go back to work and get the jab, or forfeit their income and find other work. And like I put in the video earlier today, man, it's just like how quick we were to sign away our freedom for anonymity when it came to the Patriot Act. It's crazy. 46 days. Adam says, I love Bob Lazar. I have a Bob Lazar bumper sticker. Harry Parrott says, Alex Jones is 95% right. Carl says, Lazar said the UFOs he back engineered used element 115 for power source. No one had heard of element 115 back then, was discovered years later. He was telling the truth after all. Yeah, I know. I did see someone talk about that once, trying to debunk it, saying that, you know, the numbers do go up pneumatically as far as wherever at the time of Lazar's statements, we were at like 110 or 111, so that he knew 115 would be coming at some point. I don't know if I buy into that so much. Too many things he has talked about have since come true besides just the element 115. About talking about the way the craft moves and just so much. Honey Horse says, I'm interested in what was on the plane. As far as I know, besides the passengers, Honey Horse, it was just from what they know right now that was in the belly of the plane were not properly packaged lithium-ion batteries that they think caught on fire. But there also could have been other tech in there that they wanted to destroy, right? Who knows what these guys had on them? Harry says, you can generate free electricity from the ground and the air, another Tesla rabbit hole. Harry Parrott, have you ever seen the videos from back in the day of the Zeppelins? Look like they're powering up on top of buildings. Carl J says, Captain Kirk is a legend. Zelly Zen, what's going on, girl? Thank you for the like. I appreciate you. Good to see you in the chat tonight. Zelly Zen is in the house. Catching us from the South Pacific. Lost was a great show. Lost was a great show. Yeah, it was definitely a losty for a while. Zelly says we're living in a movie. The Truman Show comes to mind. God. I hope we're not in a dome right now. I'd be really bummed. Or if that... Even worse, I hope there's nothing past Antarctica. Like, if that's just like a wall, like in Game of Thrones, I'm really going to be pissed. Like, really pissed. Honey Horse says there's a video on YouTube that shows some guy in the 70s that created something that would shoot a frequency at objects and they would become weightless. Maybe these crafts perfected that. I wonder what kind of frequency that was. Where'd you see that, Honey Horse? On YouTube? Lizzie says the article said the plane was escorted to Diego Garcia military base by the IBM guy. Who was on the plane, Lizzie? Woods? The guy from Texas? He was able to send a message. That's another thing, right, Lizzie? Yeah, they talked about that. How were they able to get cell phone footage, cell phone signals if they weren't where the second flight path that we've now seen from that footage when it shows the GPS coordinates? There's no way, right? Oh yeah, the planet magnetic thing is pretty crazy. Yeah, with a rock the other day, making a rock float. All right, we're rolling up on 2 hours. Holy crap, it's almost midnight. All right, I got to get back to finishing my video. So I'm going to be dropping a video tomorrow, and then I'll try to get a hold of Tony tomorrow, see if he wants to go on live. We won't talk any politics or anything. We'll talk about the market because it was a pretty crazy week with GME running. I don't know. There's a bunch. Does everyone have calls right now in GME? I didn't have any money to buy any stocks this week, so I'm kind of just sitting back and watching from the sidelines. I wish AMC had run it just as hard as GME did, though. Just watch out for the reg pull. Watch out for the reg pull. Don't go nuts, right? Just be careful. M says the aliens are shorting our meme stocks. If the WF has anything to do with it, well, never, Moon. Never. Nikki Haley, just say no. Harry says bot. Yeah, she is. She is. She just moved into second place. Ahead of DeSantis. She's crazy, man. She wants to bring us right into the brink of World War III. Nuts. Nuts. Adam says a rug pull is incoming. All right, guys. I'm going to let you go. Get back and finish this video. Thank you for all coming by, hanging out with me. Appreciate all the thoughts and the well wishes and the likes. And thanks for the super chats, Lupe. I forget who else sent one. Thank you, man. I'll put that into, we'll keep doing some more lives for right now. Lizzie, Carl J, Harry Parrott, Adam, Honey Horse, Mike. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming by and chatting about some conspiracy theories. I want to do this more often. Just, kind of keep the conversation loose. Just throw ideas around, right? Zelly Zen, Lupe. Appreciate you guys. Be good. And I'll see y'all tomorrow night. Peace out. I am wiped. I'm not going to be able to finish this video tonight. There's no way.